Welcome to Outdoor Investigator. We're so happy that you could join us today. I'm gonna give you some time to get settled in. And we'll wait a couple minutes for a few more people to join. But while we're waiting, go ahead and put your first and last name in the chat window. So while you're waiting, go ahead and put your name in the chat window. If you're there with your brother or sister, put their name in the chat window too, please. All right, I see people typing, so you must be working on that. Awesome job. And we're going to start things off a little bit differently today. We'll just go ahead and start with the poll that we see. So I want to know what you remember from last week if you were here. So only if you were here should you answer this question from last week, okay? If you weren't here, just don't answer. What's that? Did you have a question?
I did. This is Rebecca Hale.
Hi.
And I'm here with my grandson, Christopher Chapman. I was just trying to add his name to the chat, and I am not getting a pop-up keyboard to type it in.
Okay. I don't have any suggestions for not getting a pop-up keyboard.
That's okay. And we'll just bypass. I don't want to interrupt the class.
Oh, yeah. So what I would like you to just tell me is the name of your grandkid again?
Christopher Chapman. And he's right here with me.
Awesome. Thank you. I wrote down their name, so if somebody can write it in the chat for us, that would be great.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. All right, guys, I'm going to share my poll with you, and hopefully that will pop up. And you can answer the question if you were there last week. Only if you were there. Tell us, what do water bugs tell us about the water they're in? So we're going to go ahead and start with the review if you're just joining us. And if you were here last week, we want you to answer the question, what do water bugs tell us about the water they're in? Do they tell us about the health of the water, about the temperature of the water, or about the types of fish that are present in the water? So go ahead and answer the poll. I'll leave it open for a couple more seconds.
Health of the water. I think the health of the water.
All right, so I'm going to end the poll and share the results. Great news, everybody. You all got it right. Great job, investigators. That's awesome job. They tell us about the health of the water. Remember, agent in training Cassidy told us all about how some waters are polluted and how some waters are not. And the invertebrates, remember that big word, macroinvertebrates, or bugs of the water, tell us whether or not they can tolerate all that pollution. And if they can't tolerate it, they just won't be present. So great job, everybody. I'm going to stop sharing this. We'll get back to the beginning. All right. So welcome again. Just to go over the basic rules that we go about every time we're on Zoom. So these are the Zoom. This is what's up here. We're going to make sure that you're on speaker view, that you keep on mute. If you got a question, type in the chat box. If you can't type in the chat box, then at the end, we're going to have time to talk and you have time to ask those questions out loud. So just try to remember them or write them down or something. I got to tell you that this workshop is being recorded, so your beautiful faces might also be recorded, and you've already gotten permission. If you don't have permission, we will definitely black out your screen if it ever is to come to that, all right? If you don't want to be recorded, you can certainly turn off your camera now. All right, so we just went through the review. So just to remind you that Outdoor Investigator is a IFAS extension program, and University of Florida IFAS extension is one of the ways that the university reaches out into the community to share knowledge from the university. And so we do that in a variety of ways. I do it on water, but all the colleagues that you see up here, some of them specialize in bugs, others in youth development. So that's training you kids to grow up to be productive adults. And then we have others who look at wildlife. And there's just so many of us that do so many things that are all based on university research. Just to give you an overview of the program again, so if you were here last week, that was your first workshop of session 2. We have one today, and then we have one next week, and then that's it. Session 2 is over. If you participate in all those 3 sessions and you share 3 things, you're going to become a certified investigator, and you will get an awesome package in the mail. So how you share your skills with us is through Dropbox, but I've had some of your parents and grandparents and guardians just email me, and that's totally fine too. So you could make your shares by email as well. So today is all about birds. Yay. So we want to know first, what do you know about birds? Like, can you identify birds? And if so, what are the 3 areas that we should focus our attention to identify birds? Can you think of 3 things we should look at so we can identify what type of bird it is? I'm not even going to just open up. I'm not going to give you some ideas. Just go ahead and put some beginning ideas in that chat box. Whatever you think are the 3 places on a bird that we should focus our attention to so that we're able to identify them. Again, if you don't have a chat box, that's okay, because we're going to ask this question again at the end, okay? So you have an opportunity to talk then. So what do we have coming in on the chat? Do we have any beginning ideas? All right, I see that we should look at color. I see beak from Mabel, and wings, beak, and tail from Layla and Luca. Their tail from Madison. The sound of their call. Thanks, Agent Jen. Alexis says the color, the shape, and the size. Nice job. And Ernesto says, are they in the jungle or are they not? Nice. And you could tell a lot by their size and their color, says Alyssa, or actually not Alyssa, but Alyssa's son. Yes, very good, everybody. Those are really great ways to tell birds apart. And you know what? We've got Agent Catherine, who's a wildlife scientist, who's going to tell us exactly what 3 areas we should be looking at. So before we get started with Agent Catherine, like every session, there are 3 ways for you to share your skills. So today, we're going to learn more about how to identify birds. We're going to learn about how to make a bird feeder. Yay! And then we're going to learn how to express our attitude for gratitude from Agent Jen. And you can share all those with us, or you can just pick one and share one. You can share it by email or through Dropbox, and that will get you on your way to becoming a certified investigator. So today we're going to hear from Agent Catherine first, who's going to teach us all about how to identify birds. Next, we're going to hear from Agent Sarah, who's going to teach us how to make those awesome bird feeders. And last, we're going to hear from Agent Jen, who's going to teach us a health tip. So take it away, wildlife scientist, Agent Catherine.
Thank you, Agent Abby. Hi, investigators. It's nice to see you guys again today. We are gonna, let me share my screen. All right, so we are going to talk about birds today, and we are going to look at some of the birds you might see near a pond, in your backyard, or at the beach, and talk about adaptations they have. So adaptations are things about their bodies or things that they do that help them survive. And these are some of the birds we're going to talk about. So what do all birds need? They need habitat. And habitat is composed of at least 3 really important things. So no matter where they live, we call where they live their habitat. You could think about your house as your habitat, or maybe even think about your couch or your bed as your nest. So different birds live in different habitats, but no matter where they live, every bird and really every animal needs at least these 3 things: food, water, and shelter. And sometimes I like to think of shelter as space. Sometimes it means our house, but we also need to have some space too. So here are some examples on this slide of birds finding food, water, and shelter in their different habitats. If you want to see more birds in your backyard, so there's some pictures out in their habitats, and here are some birds that you might see in your backyard, and you can help your backyard be a better habitat for birds. You may want to put up a bird feeder like you see in the picture there, but only feed birds the type of food they would normally eat in the wild. Or you could install a bird bath where birds can come and drink or splash around. Or you could put up a bird house to give them a space to nest. You might need to do a little research though, because different birds like different food and even different types of bird houses. You also need to keep your bird feeders and bird baths clean so that the birds have fresh food and clean water. So let's talk about ducks now. Ducks like to live in fresh water, so you might see a duck in a pond, near a stream, or even in a ditch. They are perfectly adapted to their freshwater habitat. Ducks are omnivores. Omnivores means that they eat both plants and animals just like us. They also use their beak to find and grab their food from underwater. But sometimes they grab something they don't want, like a bite of mud or too much water. Well, ducks have an adaptation to manage this. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can show you, hold on. So I'm going to show you the skull of a duck. All right, so, and look right here on the edge of the skull, right there. So here's its mouth. Let me show you so you can see better. Its eyes are right here. That's its beak. And then I'm going to open its beak, and you can see on the inside of its beak, it has these little things that look a little bit like teeth. It's a little jaggedy. Those are called lamellae. And lamellae help to filter out the food and water that they don't want, or maybe the mud that they don't want. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. And let's go back to our duck. Nope. All right, hopefully you guys see my screen. Hold on, I think we're having technical issues.
I was seeing your screen, Agent Catherine.
Okay, and are you seeing the duck slide? Now maybe you are.
No, now I'm not seeing anything.
Oh boy. All right, hold on. Hold on, guys. Almost there.
Everyone really loved how cool that beak was, though. We got a lot of chat in the chat window.
I know, and I'm going to try to show you another one in a minute as soon as we get back to our presentation. Okay, are you seeing my duck screen now?
Yes, we are.
Oh, yay. Okay. So lamellae, those little like jaggedy sort of tooth-like parts on the edge of the duck's beak, they aren't really teeth. They're acting like strainers. And so they will strain out, and you can see it on that picture of the duck on the left with the orange beak. You can see the lamellae right there. And so if that duck sticks its head under the water to grab some food and it gets some mud or too much extra water, it'll strain that out. The water and mud will just come out of its mouth, and the plants or the fish will stay inside its mouth for a nice, delicious meal. It's sort of like when we strain spaghetti at home. We cook the spaghetti in a bunch of water. We don't want to drink all that water when we eat our spaghetti, so we strain it out. And that's one of the duck's really cool adaptations. Another cool adaptation they have is their webbed feet, which you see in the other picture. And webbed feet are that they have skin in between all their toes, and that helps them to swim. This helps the duck move through their freshwater habitat better and faster, which helps them to find more delicious food. Have you guys ever tried swimming with flippers on? Flippers help you swim stronger and faster, just like a duck. All right, so now we're going to look at this really cool pink bird that you saw a second ago. This is another super cool freshwater bird. It's called a roseate spoonbill. Roseate means sort of rose-colored or pink, and if you look at its beak, its bill or beak looks like a spoon. You can see these birds in lakes and ponds, sometimes even in ditches on the side of the road after it rains. They like to eat crustaceans, and a crustacean is like a shrimp or a crab, and they eat other small aquatic invertebrates like Agent Abby talked to us about, or sorry, the Agent Juliana and Cassidy talked to us about last week. So those crustaceans that they eat contain something called carotenoids. Carotenoids are a color that actually make our carrots orange. And when the spoonbills eat a lot of crustaceans with carotenoids in it, it makes the spoonbill's feathers pink. Super cool fact. Also, take a look at their legs. They have pretty long legs. This is because roseate spoonbills are wading birds. So they don't swim in the water like ducks do. They walk or wade through the water looking for food. All right, so I'm going to try to show you another skull. We'll see how this works. So here is a roseate spoonbill skull. So there's its head there, and then it's got this really long beak. Look at it, and there's the spoon at the bottom. I'm going to show you sideways now. Whoa, there we go. So this is where its eye would be, right there. And then here's its beak. And so roseate spoonbills have this really cool behavior, which is another type of adaptation that they do to eat. They wade through the water and they swing their head back and forth in the water. And when they do that, they stir up the fish or the shellfish that they want to eat. And when that little shrimp swims through the beak snaps shut really fast. So swims through the beak, it touches the beak, and the beak snaps shut. We call that tactile feeding. Tactile means to touch. And so spoonbills, as soon as something touches their beak, it snaps shut and they have a delicious meal. They don't even need to think about it. It's sort of like if we touch a hot stove by mistake, we don't have to think about that it hurts and it's hot and then finally our brain tells us to move our hand. No, that would take forever and our hand would get burned. So as soon as we touch something hot, we don't even need to think about it. We just move our hand. And that's just like what happens with the spoonbill when it touches something it wants to eat. It doesn't need to see it. It doesn't need to think about it. It just snaps its beak closed and eats a delicious meal. All right, let me see if I can go back to sharing my screen. I'm gonna try this. All right, can you guys see my screen again?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So this is why it's so important for us to take care of our water, because our water bodies provide habitat for thousands of birds and animals like the ducks and the spoonbills. So let's take a look at this bird. This is a bird you've probably seen in your backyard. This is a blue jay. They are a common backyard bird. Does anybody know what they eat? If you know what they eat, go ahead and type it into the chat box. Take a look at their beak. Their beak looks very different from a duck's beak or a spoonbill's beak. Their beak is short and strong. It is perfectly adapted for crunching on insect exoskeletons. That's the skeleton on the outside of an insect. And their beak is even strong enough to crack open an acorn. Blue jays love to eat insects with a side of acorns. Have you ever tried to crack open an acorn shell just with your bare hands? It's impossible. Blue jay beaks are so strong because they are perfectly adapted to what they eat. Here's a photo of our backyard blue jay and another jay called a Florida scrub jay. If you've ever seen a Florida scrub jay, type it into the chat box because they're not really common and you generally wouldn't see them in your backyard. That's because they are what we call a habitat specialist. They like a very special kind of habitat called the scrub. Scrub habitat is sandy, hot and dry, and has mostly short oak trees. Scrub jays, just like their cousin, the blue jay, love to eat acorns. In fact, they can bury thousands of acorns each year and remember where they are when they're ready to eat them. Although blue jays are very common, scrub jays are threatened, meaning there are not many scrub jays left. It is super important to protect them and their scrub habitat so they have a place to live and we can save them from going extinct. So let's take a moment and observe these two birds. They're both blue. They both have short, strong beaks. They both have skinny legs and feet with toes that they use to hop around on the ground to find food. But how can you tell them apart? If you notice anything different, type it into the chat box. I'm going to keep looking at these birds. I'm looking at the blue jay's head. The blue jay has what's called a crest. See how it has a bunch of feathers sort of sticking up, almost like a mohawk, but the scrub jay doesn't. So that's one of the ways you can tell them apart. The blue jay also has a ring of feathers around its neck that is black. See how it has like a black necklace? And our scrub jay has more of like a blue necklace. So that's a special marking that can tell them apart. And then let's look at their wings. Our blue jay has bars on the wings. We call this, especially this white stripe right here, a bar, a wing bar. Our scrub jay just has blue wings. So these are some of the ways that you can tell these two birds apart. And when you go out in your backyard, you want to start looking at some of those details of the birds you see, and that can help you learn what bird friends are coming to your backyard. So here's the last bird we're going to talk about. If you are getting out to the beach with your family, you might be lucky enough to see this bird. You'll probably see some seagulls and some terns, but this is a snowy plover. Snowy plovers are small white and gray colored birds that live on our Sarasota beaches. As you can see in the pictures, snowy plovers are masters of camouflage. Camouflage means that the color and patterns of their wings and feathers blend in perfectly with the color of their habitat, the beach. Camouflage is an adaptation that allows snowy plovers to hide from predators. One fun fact about the snowy plover is that they often look like they are playing in the ocean. This is because they dash or run in and out of the waves while catching their food. The movement of the water stirs up their food, and they mainly eat small insects and other aquatic invertebrates like marine worms and crabs. Their beak is small, short, and pointy, and it is perfectly adapted for poking around in the sand and grabbing the food they eat. Sadly, just like the Florida scrub jay, the population of snowy plovers is declining or getting less because of us humans. When we build our houses on beaches, we take away space from these birds that could be used for their nests. Snowy plovers make their nests on the sand of the beach, and sometimes people even walk or drive over their nest by mistake. Many people feed birds at the beach, which attracts mean birds like crows, which can hurt the snowy plover and its eggs. It is important not to feed birds at the beach. Also, watch out for those roped off areas that you see at the beach. The roped off areas, they might be where sea turtles are nesting, but they might also be where some of the snowy plovers might be nesting. So let's talk just a little bit more about how to be a good investigator neighbor to birds. So there's a lot of things on this slide that you can do to help be a good neighbor to birds. First, give the wildlife space and never feed them people food. Remember, you are visiting their home when you go to the beach or visit a forest. Next, if you have pets, make sure to keep your dog on a leash so they don't chase the birds. In fact, never chase birds when you're at the beach either. It scares them and wastes their energy that they need to find homes, migrate, and care for their eggs. And if you have a cat, remember to keep it inside to keep both your cat and the birds safe. And finally, don't forget to fill in the holes you dig or the sandcastles you build on the beach so that baby turtles or birds don't get hurt. And always remember to pick up your trash at the end of the day when you're ready to leave the beach, because littering is really bad for wildlife. Animals might mistake it for food and then they might eat it and get sick. Okay, so now that you know how to be a good investigator neighbor to your bird friends, and we've learned all sorts of cool stuff about what birds need in their habitat to survive, let's go outside to my backyard and see if we can find any birds to observe. When you guys are ready to investigate your own backyard, if you have a pair of binoculars, take them with you. Binoculars can help us observe birds that are further away from us and help us see some of those colors and patterns that can help us identify our bird friends. Once you find a bird in your backyard, here are some things to look for. So you want to focus on the shape of the bird. How big is it? What shape is its tail? Does it have, what shape is its beak? Just look at some of those details. So we want to look at the shape. Then we want to look at the color. What color is the bird and does it have any of those patterns like we talked about? And then where did you find this bird? Think about its habitat. Where is it living and what is it doing? And then if you have some more time and the bird's still there, you can try to look at some of the extra special things about it, like does it have a stripe on its wing or a circle around its eyes? Is there anything special about it that will help you learn who it is and learn more about it? Okay, I'm going to get ready to head outside to see if I can find any birds to observe in my backyard. Here are some photos of other birds you might have seen around your neighborhood. I'll see you in a minute. I'm going to turn it over to Agent Abby while I head outside.
Great job. Thanks, Agent Catherine. We're going to take a poll while we wait for you. All right. Let me share my screen. And I want to know from you guys, if you had to be one of these birds that you just learned about, which one would you want to be? Would you want to be a roseate spoonbill? Like Agent Catherine said, they like eating crayfish, shrimp, crabs, and small fish. They have a spoon for a bill. And they like hanging out in the mangroves. Or would you want to be a snowy plover that eats aquatic invertebrates, has a short black beak, likes to take short runs on the beach with frequent stops to look for predators? Or would you like to be a scrub jay? Eats insects, frogs, toads, lizards, mice, birds' eggs, and acorns, has a chiseled beak just so it can pop open acorns, and likes hopping in between scrubs in high and dry areas of Florida. Let me go ahead and share my poll so you can vote. Here we go. Go ahead and vote. Would you like to be a roseate spoonbill? Has a cool beak, likes hanging in the mangroves. Snowy plover, really cute, likes taking fast runs with lots of stops to look for predators. Or a scrub jay that likes to hop, hop, hop and can open up acorns with a chiseled bill. All right, votes are coming in. I see that we have votes for the roseate spoonbill is in the lead. I'm going to end poll. I'm going to share my results. You can see that the roseate spoonbill won by 4 out of a total of 8 votes. So they got half the votes. Great job, everybody. Let's turn it back over to
Hey, are you guys ready for me?
Yes, I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now, Agent Catherine, and go ahead.
All right, Agent Sarah, I can see you. Can you hear us and are you ready for us? All right, excellent. All right, hi investigators. I'm out in my backyard. If you were here with us a couple weeks ago, we were here talking about wildlife animal signs, but today we're gonna look for some birds. So I have this cool backpack, which you can actually check out from the library. It's called the Explore Your World backpack, and in here there are all sorts of things you can do to explore in your backyard, or maybe even in a county or state park. And inside there are some kid-friendly binoculars. So these are a little tiny for me, but they might be perfect for you. You never want to touch the lenses where the glass is, because then you will have fingerprints right where you're trying to see. So you always put the strap on over your head to make sure that they don't fall when you get really excited if you see a bird. And you put this end up to your eyes. And right here is where you focus them. And you can even move most binoculars so they fit your eyes just right, so that you only see one circle when you look through them. All right, so I am focused up. When I start looking for birds, I'm going to look at all those things we just talked about inside: their shape, their color, and the habitat they're living in. And you might even use something called a field guide, and there's one of these in the backpack too, that helps you to identify which bird you're looking at. So there's all different types of field guides. You may even have a different type at home, but usually they're arranged according to the color of the bird. And if you have a blue bird, you can just look under the blue section and try to identify your bird, because then you can learn more about it by looking it up on the internet. All right, here we go. I'm going to start looking, see if I can see anybody in my backyard. It's the middle of the day and it's pretty hot out, so we're going to have to look pretty hard. Oh, wait, I think I hear something. Oh my gosh, what is that over there? Oh my gosh, that is a big blue bird. Holy cow, let's go over and meet this bird. Well, hello, Scrubby.
Hello. Hi, kids. My name is Scrubby, and I'm actually not a bluebird. Do you guys know what I am? I'm a scrub jay.
Hey, Scrubby, where do you live?
Well, I actually live in Florida. Florida is my only home, and that's part of what makes me so special.
Wow, and what type of habitat do you like to live in out here in Florida?
Well, my favorite habitat is one with dry, sandy soils and patches of sand that I can go visit. They also have to have short oak trees that I can build my nest in.
Wow, that sounds like the scrub environment, and that's what's in my backyard, because I live in a very natural area. Most kids probably don't have scrub habitat in their backyard, but it's super cool they can see you today. What do you like to eat and drink out here?
Well, I really like to eat acorns, but those normally come in the fall. So in the spring, I eat caterpillars and feed them to my babies. And since I don't really move around a lot, I get my water by drinking the dew off of trees in the morning.
That's super cool. What else makes you so special?
Well, scrub jays are really special because we have a lot of adaptations that survive in this environment. For example, we live in our families, just like humans do. Brother and sister scrub jays help find food for babies. And also, other scrub jays keep a lookout for predators while we eat our food. Oh, and we're also super smart. We can hide thousands of acorns and then go find them when we're hungry because we remember the location.
Wow, Scrubby, I think you're a lot smarter than me. I don't think I could remember where 6,000 to 8,000 acorns are every year. Holy cow. So, oh, you know what I have just noticed? What are those really nice bracelets you have around your legs?
Oh, well, these aren't bracelets. Actually, these are called bands. And a very special human called a biologist put them on me to learn about me and study me. And you can actually tell and learn about me by looking at the color of my bands and what order they're in.
Oh, so you know what? When bird banders ban birds like scrub jays, they put special colors on, and you actually can read them and tell this scrub jay's name. So you read first on the right leg, you go from top to bottom. So this is red, blue, and then you say dash, and then you read the left leg, blue, silver. So this scrub jay's name is red, blue, dash, blue, silver.
Oh, I guess we lost Agent Catherine for a second. And
Like it.
what kind of bird was that?
A scrub jay.
Yeah, that was a scrub jay. And how does it look different than a blue jay? Anybody want to unmute themselves and tell us how does it look different than a blue jay? All right, Evan.
A scrub jay looks different than a blue jay because it doesn't have a crest and it doesn't have the bands on it, the bars on its wing.
Yeah, it doesn't have the wing bar, it doesn't have the crest. Good job. Awesome job, investigator. All right, so I see Madison wants to add something in.
Blue jays have mohawks and scrub jays don't.
Good job. The mohawk called the crest. Nice. All right, everybody. Well, why don't we go ahead and move to the next presentation. Too bad we missed out on seeing the rest of Scrubby. That was fun, wasn't it? Who knew that there was going to be a giant scrub jay in Agent Catherine's backyard? All right, so we're going to move on to Agent Sarah, who's going to teach us more about extending this lesson into our backyards. Agent Sarah, take it away.
That sounds great. Hello, youth. I'm super excited to be here today for this session. As I mentioned, I'm Sarah. I'm the 4-H Youth Development Extension Agent in Sarasota County. And through 4-H, we focus on hands-on learning. So I'm going to share my screen because we're going to talk about some hands-on activity that you could do this week. So Agent Catherine was talking to us a little bit about those backyard birds. And you guys probably see quite a few different backyard birds in your backyard. Let's see what the next one is. So if you want to delve in a little more deeper, you can check out the wildlife 4-H Wildlife Project, and I'll share those links at the end of my presentation in the chat window. But as I mentioned, 4-H is hands-on. And one way that you can find out which birds live in or near your backyard is to put up some bird feeders. You want to use wild bird seed, food that the birds would normally eat, way different than feeding them people food. People food's not healthy for birds or any wildlife. So you want to use a wild bird seed. And attracting birds to your backyard takes patience. They may not come to your feeder right away, and they usually take a few days to ensure that your feeder is going to be safe for them and they don't see any predators and all that stuff. So this week, I'm calling all scientists. I see some of you out there, investigators, and maybe you guys are ornithologists, scientists that study birds. It's time to figure out in your backyard what birds live there. So here's a few birds that I've seen in and around my neighborhood. Maybe you have seen some of these in your neighborhood. Dr. Catherine showed a few photos that she saw in her backyard. Cardinal, we've seen the bald eagle, which is pretty awesome to see. They don't typically feed on feeders, but you may see a cardinal. They like to feed on some of the feeders that you can make with pretty simple ingredients. So here's an example of what you might make this week. It's a pretty easy to do bird feeder. You just need a paper towel roll or a toilet paper roll. You can get wild bird seed at any store, typically a grocery store or one of those big box stores that has everything that you could need and more. You need the roll. You can also use a pine cone if you don't find a toilet paper or paper towel roll. Peanut butter works best, but if you're allergic to peanut butter, you can use vegetable shortening, or if you don't have any peanut butter, you can use vegetable shortening, sunflower seed butter, or coconut oil. You need string or yarn or ribbon so you can hang your feeder. And as I mentioned, you want to use wild bird seed. And you may want to make some perches for the birds to put their feet on while they're eating. Totally optional. You can be the designer of your bird feeder. So you're going to pour some bird seed on a plate. So do you cover that plate with bird seed? You want to punch a hole in your bird feeder at the top. You can to hang the string, or you can actually just string the hole through the little tube. You decide. You're going to spread the peanut butter on the toilet paper roll, and then you're going to take the roll with peanut butter and roll it in the bird seed. You'll place the string either inside through the roll, or you'll tie a loop if it's so it's large enough to hang down from a tree, or you'll string it through that punched hole. So here we are, spreading peanut butter. Then you can see we're rolling the the toilet paper roll through the bird seed that we put on the plate. And voila, we've got bird feeders in progress and ready to go. You want to think about safety, so work with an adult to find an appropriate location for your bird feeder. It's better to hang it from a tree or other structure so you to avoid attracting other critters. We had one of ours setting out this morning, and the squirrels also like to eat off of bird feeders. And then enjoy what you see. Share photos of your feeder or the birds that flock to it. So here's a couple of different options. It's up to you how you want to design it, but again, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, you can use sticks to put perches on it, like this one here in the top, and how we used yarn. This one's kind of like a ribbon that's string through the toilet paper or paper roll itself. We hung one on a cabbage palm. So you could, if you don't have any string, you can just put the roll, if you see at the top, you can just put it on a tree branch, or this is a cabbage palm boot. So lots of options. Are you crazy about birds? Well, I've got some amazing resources that you can check out. Thank you so much, and we really appreciate it. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen really quickly because I'll show you in the camera a couple of them. We also used a paper towel roll, and we've got some perches. Oh, look, they've turned blue with my virtual screen. You can hang them that way. You can make an extra long one with a paper towel roll and hang it. And there's where the squirrel was eating our birdseed this morning. So lots of opportunities, pretty easy, and lots of fun. You can see which bird feeder might work better, which location would work better, all kinds of opportunities for you. So I can't wait to see your bird feeders this week. Back to you, Agent Abby.
Thank you, Agent Sarah. Awesome. I cannot wait to see your bird feeders either this week. Those are going to be awesome. I also hope that you use the tools that Agent Catherine told you about so that you can track the birds and you can use their shape, their color, and the habitat, which would be your backyard, to figure out exactly what kind of bird they are. So that's your first Skillshare opportunity, right? So your first Skillshare opportunity comes from Agent Catherine, going in the backyard and doing a binocular activity. If you don't have binoculars, that's okay. Just use your eyes and see what kind of birds you can actually identify, thinking about the shape, the color, and the habitat that they're living in. Thank you so much, Agent Sarah. The second opportunity to share your skills comes to creating a bird feeder. So use a paper towel roll, or use a toilet paper roll, or even a pine cone with something that would make the bird seed sticky. Be sure to use bird seed, right, Agent Sarah, because we don't want to feed the birds any people food. Thank you, Agent Catherine, for telling us how to be good investigators. So, quick poll, which bird is this? Is it a Florida scrub jay or is it a blue jay?
It's a scrub jay.
All right, it is a scrub jay. Good job. I was gonna open the poll, but I actually have no idea what just happened to my screen. All right, here we go. So I won't open the poll. It is a scrub jay. Remember, we talked about its crest. We don't see a crest like a blue jay. We don't see that awesome black necklace. And we also don't see that wing bar. So thanks, Agent Catherine. All right, so now we're gonna move on to our wellness tip with Agent Jen. Agent Jen, I'm going to full size my screen and put on your slide and take it away.
Thank you, Agent Abby. Hi, investigators. I hope everyone's doing well today. Give me a thumbs up if you're doing good. Awesome. Well, today's wellness tip is something that we may not think of to do all the time, but it can really help our health. And one of the things I want to share today is how you can have an attitude of gratitude. It's kind of a fun rhyme, but gratitude is something that we may be thankful for, right? And often we talk about things we're thankful for around the holidays. Thanksgiving is an example of a day that we spend reflecting on gratitude. We have a short video. I want to introduce this concept to you. It's kind of like mindfulness. It goes with wellness. You guys have looked at that in the past and talked about that. But Agent Abby, if you can share your screen and check, do the video real quick. Let's check it out and we'll come back together for a minute afterwards.
An attitude of gratitude? What on earth is that? An attitude is a way of thinking or feeling about something. We can have a good attitude or a bad attitude. The cool thing is that we are in charge of our attitude. We can choose to have a positive attitude. When we find things to be grateful for and always look for the good, we have an attitude of gratitude. There are so many things to be grateful for. The air we breathe, a sunny day, a favorite friend. Sometimes we forget all of the great things in our lives. Sometimes it's hard to have a good attitude, to be grateful. It can be really hard to see the good when everything seems to be going wrong. Like when it's rainy and you don't see a bit of the bright sun anywhere. But there is always something to be grateful for. When it rains, we can be thankful for the rain helping the grass and plants grow, or getting to splash in the puddles. When we make mistakes, we can be grateful for the opportunity to learn something new and to have the courage to try again. Remember, we can't always choose what happens to us, but we can always choose how we respond. We can always respond in a healthy, positive way. We can choose to look for the good in our lives and practice gratitude. Gratitude makes life fuller, brighter, and better. It turns whatever we have into enough and more. It turns a meal into a feast. When you have an attitude of gratitude, you think positively. When you think in this way, it will change the way you feel. Positive, grateful thinking makes you feel good and happy. Remember, you get to choose your thoughts. Isn't it amazing that you can choose what you think and how you feel? The more you think good thoughts, the easier it is to do. We have to work out our gratitude muscle and make it bigger and stronger. So what do you say? Are you ready to have an attitude of gratitude? What are you thankful for? Starting today, let's be grateful, thinking good thoughts and feeling happy.
Thank you, Agent Abby. I appreciate you sharing that video. Did you guys like the video? Did it make sense? Did it explain to you about an attitude of gratitude? Awesome. So remember, attitude is a choice, and we ultimately can decide how we want to think and feel about things. So I want you to remember that when we have an attitude of gratitude, it improves our health and it makes us happy. It's something that we're grateful for. So we want to think about what you are grateful for and take a minute to think about that. Because another way you can look at it is it's not so much about what you have, but it's how you feel about what you have. So there's different activities you can do to express your gratitude. You can write it down, you can share it with someone, you can talk about it with friends and family. And as you are looking for wildlife in your backyard, I encourage you to look for things to be thankful for, okay? And some of the ways that you can share that this week is make some notes in a journal, make a gratitude jar or a box where you put some of those things that you're thankful for, you write them down on a piece of paper and put them in the jar or the box. Or one of the things you can do in your own home is write a gratitude letter or a note to someone that you are so grateful that is in your life. And I want to give you an example. My son brought artwork home to me one day. He gave this to me for Valentine's Day, and it was more incredible than any gift he could buy. And what he did is he made me this beautiful picture. Can you see the hearts on that picture? He colored and he did a great job. I cried and I was so thankful. I put it into a frame and we hang it in our house so we can all remember how much we love each other and we're thankful for each other. So real quickly, I want you to think of something you can be grateful for or that you are grateful for, and you can share it in the chat box or share it when you turn in your comments at the end of the week for your InvestiGATOR certification. Thanks everyone. Thanks for having me, and I am grateful that I was able to spend this time with you today.
Thank you, Agent Jen. Awesome health tip. We can all choose the way we think and the way we feel. That's so incredible. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to share my screen and remind you of the third opportunity to share your skills today is like what Agent Jen just said. Let us know what you did to share your attitude of gratitude with someone. Awesome. So now it's small group time. Yeah, we're gonna get into small groups and we wanna learn more about you. So we wanna know your name. What was your favorite bird? You might not even have seen it today, but we wanna know it. We wanna know what are the 3 areas of a bird that we should look at to correctly identify them, or the 3 traits, the 3 things we should look at. And then we wanna know, did you do anything last week? Did you go dip netting? Did you make an underwater scope? Did you find out how much sugar is in your favorite drink? If so, we want you to share that. So we're gonna go ahead and go into breakout rooms. I'm gonna invite you to a room, so get ready to say, okay, you're gonna go in that room and then I will close them down. We'll all come back together and this will be done. All right, here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back.
Agent Abby, we had so much fun in our breakout room.
Oh man, I tried to visit and I couldn't visit. I don't know why, but I'm so glad to hear that. So glad to hear that we had fun in our breakout room. I wish I could have been there with you guys. All right, so let's go ahead and take the opportunity to wrap it up. Just to remind you, as if you don't know, you got to participate in all 3 workshops. So that was last week, this week, and next week. And share your skills 3 times. We give you 9 opportunities. We just need 3 shares. What are the 3 shares for this week? Well, you can show us your InvestiGATOR skills with the binoculars or just your regular eyes, just looking at birds and figuring out how you can use their shape, color, and habitat to figure out what they are. And then you can make your own bird feeder. Super awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Agent Sarah. And you can also showcase your attitude for gratitude as taught by Agent Jen. What will you do? What will you share with us? We cannot wait to see. Don't forget to have whoever registered you check their email because they will get all this information and more in their email. Next week is me. Yeah, I'll be teaching you guys about where does all that rain go? I bet you have some really great beginning ideas about where it all goes. We get 5 feet of rain each year. Where does it all go? I see Evan sharing some really cool bird pictures. So let's just say thank you to Agent Sarah, Agent Jen, and you. And don't forget to thank Agent Catherine, our wildlife scientist who taught us so much today. That's it, everybody.